They will call you a monster. They will say it with fear in their throats and relief in their eyes. Relief that you are finally gone. That the name that made grown men check their rearview mirrors for a decade has been reduced to a headline, a footnote, a cautionary tale they tell their children. But here is what they will never say. They will never say that you built what they couldn't, that you walked into rooms full of men who had never once considered the possibility of losing, and you made them lose. That you took a world designed to erase women like you, and you turned it into an empire that stretched from the mountains of Medellin to the cocaine-white streets of Miami. They will call you a monster because monster is the only word small enough for their fear to fit inside. But you know what you are. You are La Madrina, and this is your life. The girl nobody counted. You are born in Medellin in 1943, and Medellin in 1943 is not a city, it is a sentence. It is a place where the poor stay poor because poverty in Colombia is not a condition, it is an inheritance. You receive yours at birth. A mother who cannot feed you. A neighborhood where the only men with power are the ones willing to take it by force. And a face that people underestimate the moment they see it. You learn early that being underestimated is not a weakness, it is a weapon. By the time you are 11 years old, you have already understood something that most people spend their entire lives refusing to accept, that the world does not give. The world takes, and if you want anything from it, you must take first. At 11, you pick your first pocket. At 12, you run your first errand for the men who control your block. At 13, you understand what those errands actually are. You are not horrified. You are interested, because for the first time in your 11, 12, 13 years of living, you can see a door. It is a terrible door. It leads somewhere most people will not survive. But it is open. And it is the only open door you have ever seen in your life. And you have never been the kind of girl who stands in the hallway waiting for permission.
A message was sent.
You walk through it.
She stays out of it.
What you built with your hands. Nobody teaches you the cocaine trade. You teach yourself. You watch. You listen in rooms where men assume you are furniture. You ask questions that sound like small talk and file the answers in a mind that never forgets a number, a name, a betrayal, or a price. You marry young because that is what women do where you come from. And then you do something women where you come from do not do. You take your husband's operation apart, understand every piece of it, put it back together better than he left it, and then you outgrow him so completely and so quickly that the marriage becomes a business arrangement. And then it becomes an obstacle. And then it becomes something you solve. You are not cruel for the sake of cruelty. You are precise. By your late 20s, you are moving product through Colombia with a system nobody else has thought of, concealed in custom-designed undergarments, carried by ordinary women through ordinary checkpoints, invisible to the men who are looking for men. You understand something the entire industry has missed. The most dangerous smuggler is the one nobody suspects, the one nobody counts, the one who looks like someone's wife on her way to market. You count everything they miss. Miami. Miami in the 1970s is a city that doesn't know what it's about to become. When you arrive, it is sun and pastel and tourists who think the danger is in the ocean. Within 5 years of your presence, it will be something else entirely. It will be the cocaine capital of the world, and the invisible hand moving the product, setting the prices, ordering the consequences. That hand will be yours. You build your Miami operation the way you built everything, methodically, patiently, and with a ruthlessness that your competitors mistake for luck, until it is far too late to mistake it for anything. At your peak, you are moving 30 tons of cocaine into the United States per month. Per month. The money comes in so fast that counting it becomes its own logistical problem. You hire accountants who have never seen numbers like yours. You buy properties, businesses, people. You become so embedded in Miami's infrastructure that dismantling you would require dismantling the city itself. And the men around you, the men who have always believed that power is a male noun, begin to realize something that changes them forever. They are afraid of you. Not cautious, not wary, afraid. In the way that animals are afraid when they finally understand what is hunting them, the orders you give. Let no one rewrite this for you with softer words. You order deaths, many of them. You develop a method, the motorcycle assassin that becomes so associated with your operation that Miami law enforcement will later name it after you. You are efficient about it. You do not order deaths out of rage or ego. You order them the way a surgeon removes something that has become dangerous to the body. Clinically, completely, without hesitation. This is the part of your story that people will use to justify the word monster. And you will not argue with them. You know what you are. You know what you've done. But consider what they will never consider, that every man who ran a cartel before you did the same and was called powerful, was called ruthless, was called a king. You do it and they need a new word. They reach for monster because king is a door they have decided you cannot walk through. You have spent your entire life walking through doors they decided you couldn't. The weight of the crown. There is something they never show in the movies about women like you. The loneliness. Not the romantic loneliness of someone waiting to be loved, you are beyond that, and you have been beyond it for decades. The loneliness of operating at an altitude where there is no one beside you, where every person in your orbit is either afraid of you, working for you, or calculating how to replace you. Where trust is not a feeling but a calculation you run daily: who has reason to be loyal, who has more reason to betray, who is showing signs of the particular restlessness that precedes a betrayal. You run these calculations the way other women run households, constantly, quietly, with the full knowledge that the moment you stop, the moment you let warmth cloud the arithmetic, is the moment you become someone else's calculation. You have children. You love them in the way that you love anything completely, and with the full awareness that love is the most dangerous vulnerability a person in your position can carry. You carry it anyway. That is the part of you they cannot explain, the part that doesn't fit the monster narrative. The mother who would level a city for her sons, and also the architect of that city's most organized violence. Both of those women are you. Neither of them apologizes. The fall. Power is not lost all at once. It erodes. Slowly, then suddenly, like something that has been quietly rotting beneath a surface that still looks solid. You feel it before you can name it: a shift in the air. A change in the eyes of men who used to look away first. A series of small things that are not small at all. The arrests begin. Not yours, not yet, but the people around you. The layers of protection you have spent decades building. Each layer peeled back exposes the next one. The DEA has been watching for years. They are patient in the way that only institutions can be patient, with resources that don't expire and attention that doesn't tire. You run. Colombia, then the Bahamas, then back. In 1985, they find you. You are arrested in a suburb. The woman they put in handcuffs looks ordinary. Looks, for a moment, like someone's grandmother on her way somewhere unremarkable. The officers who arrest you have studied you for years. They know what you have done. They know what you are. And still later, in private, among themselves, they will admit to something they cannot say publicly. They were afraid to knock on that door. Even at the end, even with the handcuffs and the warrant and the entire weight of the United States government behind them. They were afraid of you. The reflection. You will serve time. You will be deported. You will live in Medellin again, in a different life, older and quieter, though never quite harmless. In 2012, outside a butcher shop in the neighborhood where you were born, a motorcycle pulls up. The method you invented, used on you. There is something almost mathematical about it. Something that you, of all people, would understand, that the systems we build do not care about the person who built them. That the world you created was never going to make an exception for its creator. You knew that. You always knew that. What they will never understand, the people who write the headlines, who make the documentaries, who use your life as evidence for whatever argument they already wanted to make, is that you never expected to survive it. You expected to build it. And you did. From a pocket picked in Medellin at age 11, to 30 tons a month, to a name that made men check their mirrors. You built something no one believed a woman could build, in a world that had decided before you were born what you were allowed to become. They called you La Madrina, the Godmother. And every person who ever said that name with fear, with reverence, with hatred, with reluctant awe was admitting the same thing. They counted you. In the end, you made sure of that. You were La Madrina, and the world has not forgotten.